I see you. Diehard.
What's good, guys? Diehard Next Podcast back in the building. We're live on YouTube, and right now we're about to go live on Instagram. So trying something different this time around. As you guys know, this is a light rebranding to the channel, to the Instagram page and all this. Yeah, man. What a better way to start? Cold turkey, right off the hot off the stove. Than right now with this Tom Thibodeau news, man. So Tom Thibodeau, we've been talking about him for like since he became a Knick. Did we even want him to be the coach to begin with? Shout out to the coach that the Cavaliers have, because I wanted that coach, but we ended up with Tom Thibodeau, 5 years or whatever of winning basketball. People are saying that like, who else could we have gotten? Who else is going to lead us to whatever? But we'll unpack all that stuff, as the time goes on here. But like I said, trying something a little bit different for the first show. This is Instagram format, long form format. So this is better suited for Instagram. Hopefully it shows up really nice on Instagram. Right now it doesn't look like it is, but hopefully it is nicely on Instagram. But right now, just take a look at the official announcement. First, it was announced by Ian Bagley, but this is the official Knicks announcement. Usually, when these announcements get made, these things don't get printed up so fast. So that's one thing I would like to talk about too. Is that this announcement, they a press release and everything was given. So this is not just like a knee jerk type of reaction. They've been thinking about firing Tom Thibodeau for a while now. Maybe back when they were talking about rumors during the season that Tom Thibodeau might be on a hot seat. So those rumors, whoever started the rumors or whoever mentioned it before, were all correct because look at this. At the end of the season, he's finally out of here. Just this is the recap for the season. The Memphis coach was fired right before the playoffs started. Mike Malone was fired right before the playoffs started. So other teams didn't seem it was necessary to even bring the coach into the playoffs. At least the Knicks did Tom Thibodeau a solid by not doing that to him and letting him go through the playoffs and whatnot, and it ended up being what it is. So, the narrative throughout the entire season has always been the minutes police. There was a big, ridiculous narrative, it showed its ugly head in the playoffs because our guys are just exhausted. The other argument is that, yeah, they were exhausted from the season, but then when they showed up in the playoffs, they're able to play those minutes because they were training throughout the year. I just think that's just like the most little kid response you can ever give for that thing there. Because it's not necessarily about giving guys rest and stuff like that. It's about establishing your players, establishing your team. And you can just look no further to Tom Thibodeau having to go to DeLon Wright. For a lot of fans didn't even know who the hell he was when he came into the court. Like, who is this guy they just put in the court? And of course, Landry Shamet too, who had a busted shoulder, actually dislocated his shoulder, didn't play all year, came to an end towards the end of the season and trying to get into the rotation, trying to get into shape and stuff. So these are the two guys that Tom Thibodeau decided to pull off the bench, to get things going. We'll talk more about that as time goes on here. But this is the official announcement. Like I said, Ian Bagley was the first one to say that. So just talking about Ian Bagley, he adds that Tom Thibodeau will not be with the organization. So I thought that they were going to try to keep him around, even though they're paying him the $30 million, for his extension. He's still owed the $30 million, but they're not going to keep him around as an executive or as an advisor or anything like that. He's just gone, so that's interesting, man, because shout out to Harlem CEOs, one of my favorite guys from this channel. That pops into the chat, met him in the chat, met him in person and stuff. We actually went to one of the watch along games at Radio City Music Hall. So he brings up, a point that, what if, Brunson's dad doesn't get picked up with the new coach? Is that going to start a rift with Brunson? So this is where all these little things start coming into play. Some other people have brought some other things into the equation as well. But my thing is like, if you look at it face value for what Tom Thibodeau brought to the table, yeah, he brought organization. He brought he just brought dignity back to the organization. We just needed organization in the organization. So that's a testament to Rose for hiring Tom. Because Tom, maybe another like Atkinson. I was thinking of Atkinson from Cleveland. Maybe Atkinson might have been the better coach, say, for right now. The same way that Atkinson is helping Cleveland right now, even though Cleveland got knocked out the playoffs. I want to contribute that to them being injured. But if the Knicks were to pick up a coach like Atkinson, I think that would that would boast the team even without making any changes, because then at least we will have a better strategy of how we will attack offense and defense, because that's what this is all about. It's not about whether Tom Thibodeau is a good coach or not. He is a good coach. He has his flaws though. You know what I'm saying? We'll get into that too, man. But a guy like Atkinson will probably get more out of this roster as far as offense and defense than Tom Thibodeau would have. This doesn't mean that Tom Thibodeau is an idiot. He's not a good coach. He was able to get us to this point. Even though things were unorganized and whatever have you throughout the season, Tom Thibodeau is a good coach. He's not to negate anything that he's ever done in his career. He's also never won a championship. And there's players like I mentioned, Mike Malone, who got fired. He's like brought to like one of the only championships that Denver ever had, and he got fired before the playoffs. So that shows you how NBA teams respect their players. Check out Charles Oakley, right? So all of a sudden Charles Oakley's face is in cameras all the time now. So that irritates me, because this guy Oakley kind of reminds me of some of these Fairweather fans. A lot of fans say, yeah, I used to be a fan in the '90s, but ever since John Starks missed all those shots, I don't follow the Knicks no more. It's just like Oakley. Oakley is a Knick legend, but he's been an asshole ever since he retired, man. To tell you the truth, there's so many different things that's happened throughout the years that just messed up. He just left a bad taste in your mouth for how he represents the team and how he represents himself. Period. As an older man, just being who Oak is, but as an older man, it just doesn't seem right to me. So here he goes. He's talking here about Tom Thibodeau. He said he was sad. He said he thought they would bring him back. I don't know who's going to do a better job. That's the line that kills me the most, man. Most fans say, I don't know who's going to do a better job than Tom Thibodeau. There's been coaches before Tom, there's been coaches after Tom. So Tom Thibodeau's not the end all to all coaches. Other teams have fired these championship coaches and hired a bunch of interns. So we got a lot of young interns that are running the league right now. That's going all across the board. Everybody's like around 38, 39, 40, in the early 40s or late 30s that are coaching these NBA teams now. So this is the wave. So the NBA is a copycat league. So like we'll get into that too, man. Like, what are the Knicks going to do about this coaching situation? Is it going to be a veteran that a lot of us expect, or is it going to be like somebody a little bit younger? Take a look at this asshole right here, man. I hate to call people names and stuff like that because they say, oh, you wouldn't say it to my face. You know what I'm saying? This guy's a freaking asshole because he's saying the Knicks are dumb as heck for firing Tom Thibodeau. And then he's like, let me eat my breakfast. He has all this shtick and stuff like that. A lot of people want me to go back to being an asshole too, like cursing and being animated and stuff like that. That takes a lot of energy to be a dick like this guy. You know what I'm saying? To have these facial expressions and all this other bullshit. It takes a lot of energy to go through all this. And I just don't have the spirit for that anymore. You know what I'm saying? I love to talk Knicks. We'll talk Knicks. I'll get crazy from time to time. I might even get crazy in this podcast. But to be like an animated, like almost like an AI character like this fucking guy, it's just annoying because he's not a Knicks fan. That's number one. He's not a Knicks fan. He doesn't follow the team. He doesn't know what's going on with with the roster, with the club at all. So that's his story there. So when people like this, they say stuff, it's just annoying, man. It's just really annoying. I don't know if I have it posted here, man, but not everybody needs to make a comment about this thing here. This guy's not a basketball player. He's not a basketball expert. I don't even know what he is. I think he's a football guy. I'm not sure what sport is his that he does, but not everybody needs to make a comment. Because most of these guys don't even know what the hell they're talking about. They couldn't tell you what Tom Thibodeau does offensively or defensively, or why he's such a great coach, or why the Knicks are dumb. He couldn't even tell you. He's just saying it because it's contents. Let him eat his breakfast. You know what I'm saying? I got something for him to eat. You know what I'm saying? But let's just keep it moving here. This is the main thing here. You want to talk about defense, ball screen defense, aka drop coverage. So without even saying anything else, without even talking about what we can get out of this club offensively or anything like that, any players or anything like that, just walking into the gym, everyone knows that the Knicks are doing drop coverage, which is ball screen defense. You know what I'm saying? Protect, trying to stop the pick and roll, prevent the dribble drives to the basket on the pick and roll. But explaining that, you can read this here. It says the defensive scheme used against a pick and roll. It involves a defender guarding the screener, dropping back into the paint to protect the basket and contain the ball handler. So right off the bat, me reading that is not quote unquote modern basketball. Every team in the NBA, they don't do this. They don't do this. They don't have Alfred Paytons out there running the offense where Alfred Payton is going to the basket. A drop coverage will stop Alfred Payton because you're trying to prevent him from getting to the basket. Elfrid Payton can't shoot threes, so this is perfect. A perfect defensive scheme to stop Elfrid Payton. But to stop a team like the Celtics, where the power forward is the one dribbling the ball up the court and doing all the dribbling and shooting threes. The power forward, not the point guard. You know what I'm saying? So this is the defensive scheme that we've been running since Tom Thibodeau's been here. It's worked at times. Let's say like a team like Cleveland. Cleveland, it worked against Cleveland because Cleveland can't shoot threes. That's why we beat them that one time when Mitch Robinson went crazy and stuff like that, because it fed into um, you know, playing against Cleveland. Cleveland could not stop the drop cover because they had no shooters. So what did they do? They went and got a whole bunch of shooters on their team to try to beat us. And it backfired because they ended up getting injured and stuff like that. They didn't even make it to play us in the Eastern Conference Finals. You know what I'm saying? So, it is what it is with that. But Cleveland brought shooters to the team to try to stop the Knicks drop coverage on us. So the Celtics, how many 3-point shots did they put up against us? The reason why the Knicks were able to win is because the Celtics had no counter to that. And then they just expected the Knicks to give up. And that's one thing that you can contribute, that you can give credit to all of our players. Mikhail, Mitch. Think like a coach is not going to tell somebody to play harder or not to give up. He can say it, but he can't make his players not give up. It's not Xbox, it's not PlayStation. What he can do is put them in the right position for them to succeed, and then that determination will persevere them into wins and losses. You know what I'm saying? But Tom Thibodeau never made those adjustments to put the players in the right position. So just drop coverage here for those that need to see it, because they hear it a lot and they say it a lot, but they don't know what the fuck they're saying. It's just mostly out here watching, mostly people watching these videos. So we could watch this in a loop. Simple here. Is the Celtics, Tatum, power forward, coming around a simple screen there. Mikhail's trying to fight through the screen around there, but then you can see Karl Anthony Towns getting caught in drop coverage. He's backing up to try to prevent the drive, but the Celtics are not going to drive. They're going to shoot the three every single time. How many times did the Knicks get burned on this particular play? It is not just Tatum. It's everybody on the court gets caught in the same type of action, and the Knicks have no clue how they're going to stop it. You know, it raining threes. Like my mom, watching the games with my wife and stuff like that. If it was a rainy day or something like that, she's like, "Yo, why are the Knicks letting them shoot so many threes? Oh my God, is anybody going to stop these guys?" So it's annoying. So like if even if Karl Anthony Towns got a hand in the face, because getting a hand in the face is not defense, man. So even if Karl Anthony Towns ran out and got a hand in the face and Tatum, all Tatum's going to do is blow past him. And once he gets into the paint, he's either going to dunk the basketball or he's going to kick it out to one of the shooters. And then they're going to knock down the three. And then it's just going to be a nightmare for the Knicks for the rest of the night. So when do you counter this? When do you make adjustments where you're getting killed by the 3-point shot? When are you going to make an adjustment to make this stop, to make it stop happening? And then for 5 years we just have not been able to crack this code here. Indiana was killing us in drop coverage. They didn't add anything per se to their team, but the coach, they needed to beat the Knicks, and everybody knows, like I said, to beat the Knicks, all you got to do is shoot threes because they're in drop coverage. Simple as that. If I'm playing the Knicks, we're gonna shoot threes because the Knicks cannot guard the 3-point line. It's just, even Detroit did that. Detroit is not a good 3-point shooting team, but they actually have one of the best 3-point shooters in the NBA. In Malik Beasley, and they also got other 3-point shooters too, but they're not per se like a heavy 3-point shooting team. But even them in that first round were attacking us, attacking the drop coverage and stuff. It's just that they can't maintain that level of shooting. That's the reason why they lost. And then also too, like they played much tougher than us. The rebounding and the defense, interior defense and stuff like that. The Knicks gave up all of that, just so we could beat Boston. Leon Rose actually flipped the team and made it so we can beat Boston. And mission accomplished. We beat Boston. We beat Boston because of the front office, to tell you the truth. We didn't beat them because of Tom Thibodeau. So what can we do to improve the roster, to make because Tom Thibodeau is not there, but we were trying to get Tom Thibodeau like players. So now what do we do going forward? Just to talk about the Tom Thibodeau players, this is some of the players on the roster that we picked up. Right on the first line here, you got DeLon Wright. DeLon Wright we picked up as a defensive guard. He's basically a point guard. He played a lot of point guard. He's like 6'5" defender. But we didn't use him. Why weren't we able to use this guy? If we would have used him in a regular season and try to implement him into what we were trying to do, then maybe this guy would have been more crisp in the playoffs, and he would have had a stronger more established role with the team, more confidence. Because now you're putting him in the game, hasn't played all season really, and then now you expecting him to knock down 3-point shots and stuff like that. That's fucked up. That's messed up. That's messed up for DeLon Wright to have to go through that. Even though he's a professional, you always got to stay ready. It's fucked up that you didn't play him this whole time, and now you desperately need him to contribute, and now you expect him to knock down threes and stuff, or get back on defense and all this other stuff. Here goes another young boy, Marjon Beauchamp, whatever. Great athlete, good kid. Never got a chance to play with the Knicks. We needed guys to defend Tatum and stuff like that. It would have been nice to have some of these guys go run and gun with Indiana, get them out there just to match body for body with these guys. These guys are hungry to play defense. This kid is good. Like, why weren't we able to utilize him? Because we definitely needed help rebounding. He's actually one of the better rebounders on the team. Speaking of rebounders, you got PJ Tucker. PJ Tucker's not the greatest basketball player in the world, but we all know that he could play really good defense. So why weren't we using him against Siakam? Throw him out there for a couple minutes and let him beat Siakam up for a little while. You know what I'm saying? How come we never use that? We need to help on the inside rebounding and stuff like that. We need to help with the corner threes to get the big man out of the paint, because the big men were killing us. Indiana, especially towards the end of the series, where the Indiana was just taking advantage of everything that we were doing. Why not bring a PJ Tucker in there to mix it up defensively? Those are just two players there. Other guys like Cameron Payne got emasculated. Never going to play another game for the Knicks. Miles McBride has been used way too much. Can't dribble. Finally they put Josh Hart off the bench. Used him almost like a scapegoat, to tell you the truth. Make him come off the bench to try to fix the bench. They said, or whatever, because the starting lineup wasn't working. That's a whole nother argument. The starting lineup just analytically wasn't playing well. Who do you blame for that? Do you blame the starting lineup? Do you blame the front office, or do you blame the guy that's coaching these guys? Why didn't Tom Thibodeau bench Josh Hart during the season to try to fix what the analytics say, try to fix what the problems that the Knicks are having? Why wasn't Josh Hart benched during the regular season? Why do you wait till our backs are against the wall to bench Josh Hart? It's ridiculous. So there's basketball related reasons why Tom Thibodeau was fired. Another guy here, number 5 here in the middle here, Precious. Precious, all of a sudden, he saved the season many times due to injury. And then once we get to the playoffs and we need rebounds, we need defense, and Precious Achiuwa can't find any minutes. It's ridiculous. Another kid here, Pacome, we could have used him during the regular season. They had him going back and forth to the G League for no apparent reason. This kid should have been getting some kind of minutes with the major club to give guys like OG a break. Sliding down here, another guy here, Kevin McCullough. Of course, he was hurt and stuff, but going forward, that's somebody that's going to be important for us. Here goes another guy, Tyler Kolek. I was against playing Tyler Kolek because I really want to give campaigns, a chance. But if Tom Thibodeau's not going to play, campaign to his strengths, which is pick and roll and stuff like that, then play Tyler Kolek and run into the ground. Absolutely, Tyler Kolek is going to be important next year because why would we sign a player or anything like that if we already have Tyler Kolek coming off the bench? So Tyler Kolek right now needs to be the guy, the point guard off the bench, no doubt about that. Just scrolling through, just take a look at the rest of the roster. Not really much else here. Hawk Porty was injured. Nothing more you can say about that. But guys need to get better. And whoever the next coach is, they're going to have to utilize some of these players here because the Knicks are probably going to make trades or sign guys and whatever. And whatever's left over is going to be these little fringe players that are barely making any money. We're going to have to bring some of these guys back. Maybe a PJ Tucker for the minimum, DeLon Wright, Beauchamp. Some of these guys, we're going to have to bring them back for a league minimum just to fill the roster out. Kevin McCullough is still on a rookie deal too. So these guys might actually be upgraded to playable players. So we have to see. We're going to have to get a coach in here that's going to be aware of that. Let's talk about firings too, because they put Tom Thibodeau on this pedestal like nobody else got fired. Mike Brown has a bigger resume than Tom Thibodeau as far as winning championships and stuff like that, or just being on the spotlight and whatever of coaching. Mike Brown, he's been in the mix. Monty Williams, definitely been in the mix too. He also was fired. Nick Nurse was fired. Nick Nurse just won a championship with Toronto. Mike Budenholzer just won a championship with the Bucks. Dwayne Casey won on Coach of the Year recently too. So these are all good coaches, man. All these guys got fired, but all these coaches have been replaced. And with Monty Williams, they actually made the playoffs and almost beat the Knicks, in the first round, with their new coach. So who can coach the Knicks? Somebody's going to coach the Knicks. Somebody's going to coach the Knicks, and Knicks are going to find a good coach. Other teams have moved on. Like I said, Budenhauser won a championship with the Bucks, and they fired him. He went over to Phoenix. They signed him to a 5-year deal. They fired him after the first year. Still owe him 4 years on his contract. You know what I'm saying? So guys get moved all the time. Coaches get fired. Why is Tom Thibodeau held so high? Just because after 25 years he got us into whatever? Okay, nice. That's great. But it's not only because of him. You got to add Leon Rose to the mix too to get the players here also. So you need talent, not just the coach. The coaching didn't make the players do that. Like a lot of it is talent, especially this season. You know. Just to give another shine to Mike Budenhauser, here he is here. He was fired by Phoenix, fired by the Bucks, but he won a championship with the Bucks. So if you want to talk about somebody that can replace Tom Thibodeau, this guy has the resume to do so. I don't know why he went to the Suns. It was a bad mix for him. He should have went to a different team. But this coach with what he did with the Bucks and whatever, I believe he can coach the Knicks and succeed. Not saying I want him as a coach, but if the Knicks were to choose this dude, he would be a good coach for the Knicks. I think he would get a lot out of the roster that we have here. Take a look at Team Swish here. This is Mr. J.R. Smith. He mentioned Mark Jackson, and he also mentioned the freaking assistant coach for the Los Angeles Lakers. Mark Jackson, I don't think anybody's gonna touch him with like a 200-foot pole. But the Knicks almost signed him to a broadcasting deal, so he didn't accept the deal. So maybe he might have like some deal underneath the table. They might bring him in to coach. I don't know about the other guy too. This guy is Haney. Well, I forgot my man's name. He's the assistant coach for the Lakers right now. I'm not really a fan of his, but he is a name out there. He goes a former Knick. This is Johnny Bryant. Johnny Bryant fits the current criteria of young coaches that are taking it over the NBA. 39 years old. Yeah, Johnny Bryant. So Johnny Bryant could come in and be one of the youngest head coaches in the NBA at 39 years old, and we could see what he could bring to the table. We already know what he can do. He's a really good assistant. Helped Tom Thibodeau. He was the Thibodeau whisperer. Then he went over to Cleveland and helped them win 60 something games. So he's a hot candidate, man. So if the Knicks were to bring him back, I absolutely would be on board, and I think he would get the most out of our guys as well. We'll have to see. He doesn't have the coaching experience as a head coach, but being the assistant coach for Johnny Bryant, I mean for Tom Thibodeau, and then also for the Cleveland coach, I think he has a lot of experience now at 39 years old, especially the relationships with different players to get the job done too, man. So he definitely will be a good candidate. Another candidate too is my man Mike Malone. Mike Malone almost sounds like he wants to cry when he talks about the Knicks job, but he don't want to disrespect Tom Thibodeau, doesn't want to disrespect anybody that's here. He was the coach of Denver. Right now, this is his dream job. He said it on many occasions. Coaching the Knicks and being a head coach is his absolute dream job. I believe the dude is from Yonkers, if I'm not mistaken. He's definitely from New York somewhere. I think he's from Yonkers. And he's 53. He's older. You know what I'm saying? But older, but still has his foot to the ground where he still could relate to the players and stuff. So I think he would be a good coach as well. Just came off of a championship. So speaking of championships, writing is on the wall there for Jay Wright to take over also, man. So I could see the Knicks handing him the coaching reins and then just let them try to recreate what they did with Villanova by completing it and bringing Jay Wright in. Shout out to DiVincenzo. DiVincenzo might be back for the ride as well. So that would be interesting, for these guys to get together, and win an NBA championship now, after they won all those two college championships. So that would be dope. You know what I'm saying? So outside of that, if you want to talk about, hiring an unknown coach, that's what the NBA has been doing. They've been hiring these interns and these like videographers and player personnel coaches to be the head coach of their teams. Why not hire our own guy? He's also 40. Dasake Dice Yoshimoto, they call him Dice. He's 40 years old himself, so he fits the criteria of being a young coach. He's the summer league coach. They never chose anybody else to be the summer league coach. He's been a summer league coach. So why would he be a bad choice to coach? They might be grooming him to be that guy. Maybe Tom Thibodeau believes in him because he's the associate head coach along with Johnny Bryant. So why wouldn't they just make him the interim head coach or just make him the straight up head coach, to take over Tom Thibodeau to be his successor? Why wouldn't they do that? You know what I'm saying? So I mean, if they did do that, I know you would be pissed. But if he ends up being a Spolstra, or if he ends up being a Tom Thibodeau, because once upon a time Tom Thibodeau was one of these assholes sitting on the bench that you never heard of him, from Connecticut, just a bum dude from out of nowhere that they gave an opportunity to. That's Tom Thibodeau. Tom Thibodeau is not an ex player or have all this experience playing basketball. He was a good college basketball player. Second whatever, I don't know, three, D3 or whatever you want to say. He was a good basketball player for his skill set and for where he came from. But he's not no NBA player. He was a guy that they gave a chance to. So if Dice Yoshimoto, if they gave him a chance and he became Tom Thibodeau, then what the fuck? You know, why not? But before I end this, and I'm gonna get to the chat because there's a couple people in the chat I just want to say hello to before we get up out of here. But can anybody tell me who the coach is for the Oklahoma City Thunder? Right now, they're in the NBA Finals. Can anybody tell me the OKC coach that's coaching in the NBA Finals right now against Indiana? Can anybody tell me? I had to Google it myself because I've never seen it do it a day in my life. This motherfucker's name is Mark Diagonal, whatever. He's 40 years old as well. He's one of these young guys. So this is the wave. You got a young guy, 40 years old in the NBA Finals. So now the rest of the NBA thinks that they could find their own 40-year-old to come and coach their team. So I mean, like this guy is legit the best, the second best record in the NBA. Made it to the NBA Finals. Nobody knows who the fuck this guy is, man. And you couldn't mention his name, or pull his picture out in a lineup and tell me that he was the coach of the OKC Thunder. I don't give a fuck who you are, what you say. You don't know who the hell this guy is. You never seen him a day in your life. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, it's very possible that Knicks could pick somebody like that. Dice K is one of those guys. Jay Wright is another guy. He's still pretty well. I mean, wow, Jay Wright is 63 years old actually. So he's an older gentleman as well. So I don't know, man. These are just conversations to talk about as time goes on. But yeah, man, this is my first time doing a pod here in a long time. This is a rebranding. I know you guys see the logo in the middle there. I don't really have things set up the way that I want to yet. But after Tom Thibodeau there, I said, let me just pull the scab off and just give you a nice hot podcast right off the bat, just so we could talk some Knicks and just open the new chapter and what's going to happen next. Tom Thibodeau is not the coach anymore, so the Tom Thibodeau era is over. So it's now time to embrace the future and prepare for what's going to happen next. It is what it is. Now I see Instagram. I'm not sure if Instagram is working. It doesn't seem like it's working on my end here, so I don't know if people are watching or if they can hear or see what I'm doing here. Hopefully it works. I won't be able to check until later. But definitely appreciate anybody that's watching on Instagram. Right now on YouTube, I'm back on YouTube, guys. So I'll start doing more live streams and stuff like I used to do. I have some different ideas that I would like to try to see if that works to get the channel going. But these little rants and stuff that I come along and just talk through a couple subjects, I'll continuously do that randomly. But like I said, I would like to try to get some segments in here. Just for content purposes, man. Like I said, I enjoy it, and I do podcasts, guys. It seems like I'm just one of these assholes that got a microphone in his face that got nothing else better to do. I actually love it, but I do it for dickheads like this. Guys like here that I got a lot to say about dudes like this. You know what I'm saying? But guys like this is the reason why I do podcasts, because this guy doesn't love any sport that he talks about. He just more cares about his ego and just being this AI figure. What I forgot what they call that, avatar or whatever the fuck these guys they call that. He's just a talking head on the screen. But he doesn't love the sport that he's talking about. I don't even know, is he a football, like I said, is he a football guy? I'm not even sure. And I don't even care. All I know is that they force feeding you a guy like this on your television screen, and he has 390,000 followers, and I don't know why. Every time I see him, it's just something I just don't want to see. Same thing with Tom with Oakley. Oakley gives him, the fans give him so much leeway because he's Oak. But up until this point, man, he has not lived up to that thing there. He could easily be in the Garden with Sprewell. Sprewell legit used to threaten James Dolan. That's why we got rid of him. He was cursing James Dolan out in his last days as a player. Now Sprewell is legit sitting next to Dolan and it has free reign to walk around the Garden all he wants. Patrick Ewing is back. Gerald Wilkins, I saw back. John Wallace loves the Knicks. Got Junkyard Dog is still with the Knicks. Just go down the line. Even Chris Childs came back and was at the Garden the other day, man. So I just don't get it, man. A lot of you guys, and it's not really most people that is watching because like I see Kareem Grant, I see Harlem C, who I mentioned earlier, man. I see you guys in the chat, and you guys, I know you guys don't fall for the flim flam, but there's millions of people in this country and just Nick fans in general that feed into all this bullshit, man. And it's that is the reason why I do these podcasts, man. I do these podcasts because there's a lot of fucking fake fuckers out there that are perpetrating a fraud that are talking about our teams, and people watch it mindlessly, you know saying, so I'm asking you to do the same. So if you like the podcast, if you like the rawness of it, you like what I'm saying. If you don't like what I'm saying, hit me in the comments and let me know because I respond to all the comments or whatever. You want to troll me, go ahead and fucking troll me. I respond to everything. And please support because I see you guys supporting a lot of fucking trash content out there. Just because it's the cool thing to do to go follow this person or that person. There's other people that are putting out great content out there and nobody's following them, and that's ridiculous to me. The quality of the microphones and the audio and stuff like that is all horrible, but all you guys are watching that garbage and nobody's saying anything worth listening to. But you follow those guys, you know what I'm saying? So, it is what it is, man. There's so many different options out there for you to look around instead of just trying to be in the hot spot, you know, trying to be in the hot spot just so you can be in the spot. Oh yeah, I used to be in the chat with that guy. Yeah, okay. Keep you know putting these guys on pedestals and stuff like that, giving them platforms to succeed. But anyway, let me say what's up to Kareem Grant. Kareem Grant, my twin, is always in the chat like always, man. Definitely appreciate your presence, man. uh yeah, Tibbs didn't get us to the promised land. I see a lot of fans also, making this comment too that, oh, he didn't get us the championship. But it's not about that really. It's about the championship, but the coach can only do but so much. But whatever much the coach is supposed to do, Tom Thibodeau did not handle his business. The adjustments, taking advantage of the roster, anything that we have, he never did that as a coach, and that's the reason why that we are where we are right now. You know, always make sure you hit the like button. Please subscribe to if you haven't before. Daniel Berry Sports, always definitely keying in on these pods for every time I drop one. So like I said, I'm back in business. I'm gonna start dropping them more often. Uh Korean Grant says we don't need more guards. I agree with that. We need a stretch four. Definitely need something, man. We have too many guards, and Tom Thibodeau. That's the problem too. Tom Thibodeau was playing the roster a certain way. We actually had a lot of forwards. We had some threes, 3, 4 guys that we could have played that we just didn't play. I mentioned a few of them. A lot of those guys you might not even know, but it's not because they're bad players, because Tom Thibodeau just didn't play who we had on the roster. How many bums are on other teams that are cooking? How they're not great players, but why do they get the chance to play, but our players don't? Tom Thibodeau thinks these guys can't play, but other players are playing bums, straight bums, and they're getting their shine. It's ridiculous to me, you know. Yeah, so Korean Grant's showing the logo. Yeah, man, the logo is new. Definitely a new logo. I got to get things going and stuff, with it. I got to get the ball rolling. But you know how it is. Like and subscribe, help build the channel, and then maybe due to the opportunities, I'll be able to expedite some of the changes that I would like to do. You know what I'm saying? I literally came home from work, got home about 8 o'clock, and started making this podcast. So that's how I roll. Harlem CEO is back. He said the low is fire. Wish I had that one for the kicks. Yeah, my man Harlem CEO actually made me some sneakers. I don't have them available here, but shout out to him, man. Always coming through for the kid, man. Definitely much love to you, man. Got Darren Hood in the place. Was good. But yeah, man, this is my first podcast for the new era right now, because I was planning on doing something later in the week, but this Tom Thibodeau news definitely surprised everybody. And I felt I needed to say something. So I'll have some things added to the channel to see how that works. I'm not sure if I'll be back on Instagram again because I'm not sure if it's working. But I should be back on. I'll see how that works. I might go back on Instagram again, or the next time you see me, you might just see me in regular YouTube format. Right now I'm doing the long form, like I said, because it looks better on Instagram. That's why I'm doing it like this. So this is something I'm just trying out for the first podcast here, man. But yeah, man, definitely excited about the future. The coach that comes in next, man, I think whoever we get next is definitely going to bring changes to how we do offense and defense. So whatever the Knicks decide to do, I'm going to be on board with it. Because we definitely need a change. Tom Thibodeau did a good job. Like I said, it's not to say that he did a horrible job. He did a good job. He got us to where we were. But everyone cannot be in denial of all the problems that we have on this team outside of player problems, but just systematic problems defensively and offensively. We need another coaching in to get another philosophy going on here. That drop coverage is ridiculous, man. The fact that we can't get that we simply don't even run a pick and roll with our two best players. Doing a pick and roll with your two best players is a staple on every team in the NBA except the Knicks. Brunson and Cat just don't run pick and roll together. We just don't. And whose fault is that? Is that because, oh, come on, Brunson, you need to get pick and roll with Cat? We're not playing in the park. This is organized professional basketball. The coaches, philosophies and stuff like that is what dictates what goes on the court. The players are not just doing what they want to do. It's ridiculous, guys. If you're not on that level, then you shouldn't even be talking Knicks. You shouldn't even have emotions that, oh, I'm so sad, I'm so upset. If you don't even know what the fuck you're talking about, you need to learn the game. Learn the game and understand why things are going on, man. If you don't know the game of basketball, then you shouldn't speak on it. You should learn. You should watch podcasts and watch the game itself. Watch these talking heads. Learn from them. Learn from somebody. But I know one thing, you can't just be out here, talking basketball, trying to give hard takes and trying to make these viral moments and you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. So anyway, this is your boy Ebru, Diehard Knicks podcast. 4 fingers to the forehead, tucking the thumb, salute. Catch you guys later, man. Got the soundboard going on. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully I can get that together before the week is out so we can start getting some more content up. Look out for more content. Like I said, some new segments and stuff like that. And we can get this thing started, man. I'm anxious to get back into it. I miss it, and I'm glad to be here, man. So anyway, Ebru out. Check you guys later.